And so I need to be clear. I didn't grow by posting that. And that's interesting difference to make. And I even, I have also a course about how to grow on X.
Saw that.
That I did 3 years ago. That was really, really good. I updated it recently to the new algo, so it's still relevant. But it was mostly when I was around 10K and I started growing up to 50K. That's really explaining my way to go there. And I'm not sure everybody can start with being authentic because it's very scary. Like my first start on Twitter was 4 years ago. And that's just me looking at people saying, hey, what are you working on today? And posting a link to my startup, my previous startup, which was logo generator called Logology.
Huh.
And 10 times a day, I would just reply to people with just, here's my product. That was just spamming my product. That was my whole thing. And one day, one of these replies got traction and I got 2 sales in one day, which to us was huge.
Huh.
And it was crazy. And then I started doubling down on it. And then I wanted to grow because I see the more I grew on Twitter, the more customers we had. And we went from basically making 200 a month to making 3,000 a month after 6 months of me being intensely on Twitter and going from 0 to 6,000 followers or something at the time. But I did that by, focusing on like replying to people every day, engaging, making friends, and then, trying to find relevant content to make. So I explain all of that in my course, but like this is a different strategy. And I think I'm not sure I could do what I do now. Like it's because now I have so many friends.
Yeah.
Because I used to do 250 replies a day for 6 months or 1 year. And like actually taking some time, it would take me a whole day. I was just connecting with people. I was just like, I didn't know at the time, but I was basically networking, which I never thought of doing. But like, I was just making friends and participating in the community. And then that got me to a certain position. And so then the problem is it also made me burn out because that's so exhausting and that's so scary when everything depends on social media. Then any change in algorithm can kill you. That's very, very stressful. So now that I'm back after this burnout and this recovery, I have a totally different approach. And I'm like, okay, it's not worth it. So now I'm just going to go, how can it be easy? To be honest, I was almost giving up on X, on social media. I was almost giving up because it was too stressful. And then I said like, well, if I'm going to give up, at least I'm going to give up by being myself. And I just started posting whatever I wanted. And I posted super crazy shit, super personal, super like dangerous shit, but I was just like, fuck this. And I lost many followers for a while because I went from like, funny, cool guy to like saying crazy shit. But I was like letting out everything I was thinking, everything that was still stuck that I was afraid to say. I was cleaning myself, and then I found some people liked it. And then I was like, oh, cool. So I can just be authentic and, I don't have to be crazy all the time. It was just a phase, but I can be like authentic and I still get people who give a shit. But I don't think I would have had the confidence to do that. If you start with 0 followers, it's very scary. So I understand, I think, and I remember talking about it in my course 3 years ago. I said, once you become big, you need to stop trying to make friends and just start to be yourself. That's the long-term view. But I didn't do it at the time, but I remember thinking about it already and talking about it.
Yeah, I feel very much what you're saying because, so as I said, I started Twitter like in 2010, I think. And then when I went back, I was like, okay, now you gotta know the rules, like how it works. So you're gonna grow your subscriber accounts, and then it will probably lead traffic to the landing. And then I was like asking ChatGPT, what should I tweet? Because that's the thing is like, I never felt that I should share what I have in mind. Like, it's like kind of but then I realized that I was getting into communities in Twitter where, you can post shitty posts and then you have like replies and people who post and then you get your number of followers that increase. But I was at some point after a few days doing that, I was increasing my number of subscribers, but I felt like I was just producing noise in a very noisy platform already. And I was like,
Yeah.
I took that decision like probably a month ago when I went back after a few days of trying, you know. I was like, no, I don't want to do the things that way because, I mean, I prefer, you know, doing other thing than just forcing me to post things. So I don't. No, I felt better as not posting every day, not looking at my subscriber numbers, but I try to every time I post, like this morning, I post something about a kind of an epiphany I get with Nocturne, where I realized that I was not building a community after all. It was not the thing I wanted to build.
Okay.
It was not my contribution to the maker environment. It was not that way. But anyway, so but every time I tweet, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of. I hate the expression I was about to say, like giving birth to, you know, an ID. Not giving. Well, anyway, no, I don't. I
No,
don't.
I get it. Okay.
Well, you probably understood, but you. So singing that way, it feels much better. I was about to ask you that because first, sorry, I'm making long sentences, but
Yeah, it's okay.
Nocturne has a special history with burnout. It used to be the two of us. I was myself with a co-founder. He left the adventure because of a burnout. Actually, in March 2025. So it's pretty recent. And we had the chance to either close the company or I will take the lead and do something. And at that time, we were investing into indie games because we were really into that indie video games, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the market is suffering and everything. And that's how the idea of helping builders came out. It's like enlarging what we were doing with indie games. And I often had that idea of if we never had if my co-founder never did his burnout, then a lot of good things, even in my personal life, would not have happened. So I do feel that it's a tough moment. I never experienced it myself. And I saw that you were mentioning it in your Twitter. And I was like, how does it feel to experience that? How can you feel it coming? And what comes out good of that experience?
So,
Yeah, there's 3 questions in one. It's a bit
no,
tough.
don't worry. Yeah, I had a smaller burnout because I did freelancing for like 15 years before doing my startup, or let's say 12 years. Uh, and I had a burnout because first time when I was 27, maybe 26, wait, no, 25, I think, because I was struggling to get clients, and then finally it clicked, and I had lots of clients at once. So I said yes to everything, but it's because I was kind of starving. And then I started making money. And then as soon as I got some money, I lost so much motivation because I was like the motivation of like survival. And then I started surviving. And then I had 8 clients and I had to finish all their crazy projects, which was possible if I had 24 hours adrenaline of fearing that I cannot pay rent for 3 months. I could have done it. But then once I started getting money, because, I started getting prepayments and like down payments, then I lost that energy. And then I had to work, and I didn't give a shit of most of these projects. Not really. And so I completely burned out. I refounded half of them, and I like stopped, and I took a long break. I disappointed a lot of people. It wasn't cool at all. I apologized many times after that. But anyway, that was my first burnout when I was freelancing. But then I thought, when I had my own startup, I thought, well, it's my own thing. It's my dream. I'm doing my dream, my thing. So motivation comes from inside. So I don't care. I'm not going to burn out. So I was working like crazy. And so this burnout was way different, actually. So I had been building my startup with my ex, because she was my co-founder also. She was the logo designer for the logo platform. Yes, for Logology. For 5 years, we did that. And we gave everything to this. We was working all the time. It was very hard. Not making any money for basically 2.5 years. Then eventually I found Twitter. We start to get some money. It's way better. But it's like, I'm basically working all the time, and my way to solve my anxiety. And I had pre-signs of burnout. Like sometimes I thought I had, because it was at the same time of COVID, I thought I had COVID, but that wasn't actually. But I thought it was long COVID or some shit. And I was convinced it was that. So, but I just had symptoms of my body just like breaking down, of working so much. And the funny thing about this burnout is it happened after success. Like after 5 years, we started making way more money. We were reaching 4 or 5K a month with the logo thing. And I had released my Twitter course, which was also making us 10K per month. So we finally go from, there was 2 of us. So we finally can make some money. We finally were making 10 or 15K a month after 5 years of mostly zero, and then 2 years of 2,000 or 3,000. So, and in France with all the taxes, you cannot just make 2 or 3, you need to make at least 10. So we were making 15. And that's funny. That's when everything started to collapse internally, because what happened is, it made me realize I wasn't happy in my life, because I had put everything on the startup, and I thought, okay, if we just get to 10K, like that was just the obsession. If we just get to 10K per month, everything is going to be good. That was the idea. And then we reached it, and then I realized I was actually so disappointed in a way that it didn't solve anything.
No.
Like we were making money, but like I realized, oh shit, I'm actually unhappy with my wife. We're not, like, there's a big problem deeper than that. I don't have that much money that I thought. I thought making 10K would make us rich, but with all the taxes and shit, it was basically, we couldn't even buy an apartment, or the only thing we could do is we bought a car, because we didn't have a car. So we bought a car. But we couldn't do anything. We couldn't go do crazy vacations. We were still completely stuck and still had to grind every day. And then it was so disappointing. I didn't realize at the time, but then one day I go to get groceries, like walking, and my heart starts really racing and I'm almost fainting. But I don't know why. So I keep pushing, like always, keep pushing, like with a startup. Then I almost faint twice. I go get the groceries. I come home after 1 hour. And then I go to bed or something. And then the next day, I cannot get up. Like I get up, but then my heart goes so fast, I need to sit down. And I start, and I bought like an Apple Watch or something. And then I checked and it's like 150. Like just sitting down, I go from 50 to 90. Just sitting, it was 90. But 90 like panic, and then getting up is like 130. So I'm like, and for me, my normal is like 55 or 60. So it was just like if I was in panic mode, just sitting, and then everything started, because like all of this crazy grind of like 10 hours, 12 hours a day, going on Twitter 6 hours a day, replying to everyone, connecting, getting people to my website in cool ways, not, just by being cool and making people kind of like me. Eventually, all of this seemed, I think it was because it was all for nothing in a way, because the prize wasn't worth it. And I just finally realized. And then, so my body started completely refusing all work. So for 5 weeks, I thought I had long COVID. I did all the tests, all the shit. I had nothing. And so eventually it's a friend of my ex who said that her husband was the same, and it was actually burnout and depression. But he was the same as me. He's like working all the time, always positive. And like I was literally stuck in my bed, not able to move, but still working and recording already some podcast at the time and be like, yeah, it's just COVID, completely denial about it. And then the day I realized, I told to myself, oh wait, it's burnout. Then my symptoms went 50% better instantly, just by acknowledging it's burnout. And then I had 2 years of kind of like recovery, and recovery is mostly rebuilding myself with a new framework of like, okay, this doesn't work. And so digging into how did I get there? How did I burn out? And so for me, the big changes I made is like focusing on purpose more than money.